Well, what a difference a day makes. Welcome to Perth, Western Australia, here at the Perth Hockey Stadium, wherever you may be watching across the World Wide Web. It's Game 3 of Australia v India in this 4-test match series. And I tell you what, it's heating up because it's 1-1. Here is the chance for either one of these teams to take a series lead. Welcome to Jason Butcher, our broadcast host again for this third game. And Jason, well, we hoped that the Indian team could have bounced back after that 4-0 drubbing in the opening test. What a way to level the series.
Well, we implored them to, we wanted them to, we needed them to, and the game didn't reach great heights, but 4 minutes of madness, a goal from Godez, and then 2 goals in 60 seconds from two of the Indian lads, which we'll talk about in a second, and that was essentially the story. 2-1.
And it was an electric atmosphere. It did, as you mentioned, took a while for the atmosphere to build. It wasn't a great spectacle of a game, but it was a big crowd a big Indian crowd as well. And it took, I think it took a quarter to actually get a score on the board, and that was through Godez, and we'll have a look at some of the highlights now. But I guess the big talking point, and you're the man to talk about it, were these 2 goals from India. The first one was fantastic. It took a deflection, but the second one of the best international goals I've seen for a very, very long time.
Yeah, fantastic. The first goal, we need to put it into context. What this teaches as well is that things happen quickly, things change quickly. Just a quick breakaway, some real composure by Sardar Singh, found Ramandeep. Probably didn't handle the ball as well as he would have liked. Caught a stick with the shot and just managed to beat Tyler Lovell. A bit of a redirect, and Tyler probably didn't technically handle it as well as he would have liked. Chased it with his left hand, but opportunist goal and a nice breakaway. The second one, which happened within 60 seconds, was a little bit different, a little bit special. SV Sunil, who's had a fantastic series, is in real form, electrifying the big crowd, as you spoke about. He got away on a break, came from behind the play, mind you. This shows you how quick he is. Somehow managed to get behind the Australians, carry the ball into the circle. Not a lot of pressure, no one really near him, and with one of the greatest finishes you will see in hockey, just smashed it on his reverse into the roof. We didn't see anything except it bouncing back out of the net. Fantastic finish and some really exciting hockey. And as we keep seeing through all of the media over the last 24 hours, people saying this is the stuff that India do well. Yeah,
and I think it's a good example of where India are at as well. When they're on song, when their heads are up, geez, they can do some fantastic things. And we see on the highlights there, he brought the ball into the day, and at the time I thought, well, he's got no support here. The Australians were running back and they were getting into some defensive positions. I thought, well, they're going to close this down. And to have he's got the skill, obviously, but to have the confidence to then whack that into that top corner was absolutely sensational. And this stadium, if you're watching the live feed, or if you haven't watched it, make sure you watch a replay. Just absolutely erupted. It was all over the news here in Perth and across Australia. And I'm sure it got quite a bit of a plug across India as well. Fantastic. Do you think they could do that again in this third test?
Well, I think one of the things the Australians have to resolve and find some solutions in terms of how they deal is with the Indian counter-attack. They looked at times like they weren't compact enough, weren't really anticipating or organised enough when the Indians came at them, and they just didn't have enough depth behind the play. SV Sunel's quick, and he ran hard, but there's no way he should come from behind the break and then get ahead of the break and find himself alone in the circle with our keeper.
Well, we spoke to the coach of India after the game, and actually had a nice long chat to us. Didn't get overexcited. Obviously, he's playing an Australian team that does have quite a few debutants in it, but it was a very good chat. We'll go to that now.
Well, it was a better contest from our point of view. I mean, that's the sort of contest that we're trying to put up. We understand where both sides are, so we're not taking it for anything other than a really good hard practice match. So it was an official game, so that's great for us. It's 1-1 in the series, so we're really pleased with that.
Excellent. Now, your team did come out a lot more aggressive in the second half. What did you say at half-time?
Aggressive pills? No, we spoke fairly strongly about a couple of things, and it was really a continuation of what we didn't do in the first game. And there were a few periods at the end, if you remember, we had a goal against us in the last few seconds again, and it's nonsense. It's 3 out of 8 quarters where that's happened, and we can't afford to do that, and that's an indiscipline as much as anything else. But they're the things that we're trying to work with and trying to play with, and we're really, really pleased to get a result, but we understand exactly what it means.
And you must be impressed with Singh's fast run down the side there to get that goal.
Sunil, yeah, he's quite quick, and to fire it at that sort of speed. as in leg speed across the ground and hit it in the roof of the net, makes it very difficult for the goalkeeper. But congratulations to him. You know, it was a really sensational piece, and that's what we love about our game.
Well, congratulations to you and to the rest of the team, and good luck for Saturday night.
Yeah, thanks. Be on again. Thank you very much.
Well, that was Terry Walsh on his side's, second game and first win in this series. And he mentioned that they actually came to play. They had a contest, and that's what he's been trying to build into his team. But now it's all about consistency, isn't it?
Yeah, and both coaches are speaking about lots of things being learnt, talk about all the learnings they're getting. And Terry made really strong comments about we understand where we're at and where Australia are at. So they're not getting ahead of themselves, but he was really pleased about the consistency of their effort, their endeavour, and just the competitiveness of their performance, especially after they were so disappointing in Game 1.
Yeah, well, what it does do is it levels the series. So we've got two games, essentially, the Game 3 and Game 4, they're actually going to mean something, which is fantastic. Speaking of the great man, Terry Walsh, we obviously caught up with the new coach of Australia the other day, but we also managed to sit down with Terry, the coach of India, who coached his side to a win on Wednesday. And you asked him some probing questions. Obviously, being coach of India, it's a fairly tough job, and just of late there's been some stuff in the media about his position. So we managed to sit him down, and thankfully, the questions you fired off at him, he managed to answer pretty well. So we'll actually go to that now and listen to the coach of India, Terry Walsh.
Terry, welcome back to Australia. Must be a fantastic thing to be playing a series and coaching international hockey back in your old backyard again.
Yeah, it's obviously very familiar. I was just talking with Barry Dancer about the same sort of things. Yeah, it's an exciting time for hockey from an Indian perspective. So yeah, looking forward.
We obviously want to get on and discuss your team and the progress that it's made and all the things that you're experiencing in the Indian environment. But it would be remiss of me not to ask you about your current status as the Indian head coach. Lots of things have been stated in the media, but can you give us an outline of what actually happened and what's your current position?
It's pretty straightforward. There are a couple of components. I mean, for me, there's got to be some autonomy in what you do from a budgetary and organisational standpoint as the head coach of a program and working with Roland Altmans as the Director of High Performance. And that doesn't happen very often, or often enough. And there's a slow process that takes place, which is the norm in India, and I appreciate that. But you just can't continue on and expect that you're going to get good results doing that. So that in combination with just the fact that there's just way too much time away, and I understand it's a full-time role, but you don't need to be on the doorstep every minute of the day, particularly with a program as it's set out. So they're the primary drivers in the whole piece. Having said that, the team's fantastic. You know, they've really taken to a lot of the things that we've been speaking about very well. They're a great group of players. They work really hard together. And there's no question that, they can become a real force again, I think, on the world stage.
Rick Charlesworth and Michael Nobbs have both had a crack at your job recently with mixed success. Were there any lessons that you took from their experiences? And have you spoken to either of those guys before you came into this position?
Look, I think you've got to be careful. Charlie wasn't in that role. It was a different role. And in the end, the same sort of things got to him with reference to the bureaucracy. And it's not easy. It's a very, very difficult piece. And patience and flexibility. Patience they have in bucket loads, flexibility they don't have. And it's hard to come up with the right recipe for the whole piece. Nobbsy had a chance to be involved there, and I'm not sure that the team did a lot under that regime, to be honest. But it's where it is. We all know, where it was, etc. But what we're looking to is where it can go.
Historically, there has been a belief that tactically Indian hockey has some big gaps to fill to become a consistent top team in world hockey. What have your priority focuses been with the group in this area? And what are the things that we will see in terms of your imprint on this team going forward?
We were at a low ebb, I have to be honest, when we got there. The fitness levels weren't anywhere near the level that I thought they should be, and we've spent the first 12 months of that trying to get it to a reasonable level, and we're nowhere near finished. But it'll take us a couple of years to get to where it needs to be, in my view. So I sense the best people to ask on that would be the players. They would be the most appropriate guys to give you a sensible answer on that. But they have worked pretty hard, in the last period of time, and we're still getting through at this stage on a series of tournaments. It's been hard this year. We've had the World Cup to start with, and then running into the Commonwealth Games, followed by the Asian Games, and now we're into this and then the Champions Trophy. So it's a real big ask, and you'd expect a lot of breakages along the way, but we've been very fortunate to date, but we're very mindful of where things are.
So a difficult balance with the preparation and the development you're trying to get into your team.
Yeah, well, we're building more and more numbers, guys who can legitimately play at this level, and they've all got the skills. We've all known that forever. I mean, one of the reasons I went to India was to see where the real issue was, whether it was actually the playing group, the coaching group, the administrative group, etc. And quite clearly the playing group's pretty good. Yeah, look, I think it's just an organisational piece. I watch some of the local competitions here in Australia, and you'd be a brave person to say that there's not things that need to be fixed in that environment, I think. But I believe that there isn't a blueprint in a way that you can play this game, and the era has changed. I think that the fair thing to say is that Indian hockey's lived in an era of the past and hasn't progressed in the area of tactical awareness, administrative knowledge and administrative coherence, if you like. And I think the coaching side of it has been really left poorly, I think, same as the playing side. And that's not an easy task. I mean, it's a fairly big country, India, with a few people dotted around the place, and it's a large task, and it's something that you have to just start the ball to move before you can expect some real momentum to start.
Your captain, Sardar Singh, is a big name in India and a star across world hockey. What can you tell us about the man, and what does he mean to India and Indian hockey?
Well, Sardar has got the profile. I have to say that he's not playing anywhere near the best in this group at the moment. There's probably 6 or 8 guys who are up there with him in performance level, and it'll be interesting for people to observe the players and what they're used to. You'll see a lot of what what I recall when I first started, that my sort of jaw dropped and watching at some of the skill levels of these guys. It's really quite interesting to see, and being able to match that in with what's required on the modern scene is really the task. But Sardar himself is a great guy. He's incredibly popular in India. He's really like a movie star in India, and carries all of that. But a lot of these guys are becoming more and more high profile over there, and I think that's going to be a very, very good thing for world hockey, because world hockey needs a real blast of force coming its way if it's going to survive over the next 10 to 20 years.
Talking about some of the players in your team, Gurbaj Singh's story is a really interesting one. Hasn't been in the fold for a couple of years and seemed to be one of the players that fell out from the poor performance of the London Olympic Games. One of the interesting things in the media recently was that you had asked Gurbaj to play as a centre forward, as a positional change and something that he might be able to bring to the team, which allegedly he politely declined. Can you tell us a little bit about where he might play and how important he might be to the team going forward?
I can tell you a couple of things. One, that's totally false, like a lot of stories. I think he was asked to play in another role under a previous regime, and that didn't work. Gurbaj is probably close to the best right defender in the world. Very talented player, very humble guy, has a really high intensive octane type behaviour on the pitch, but he's very, very good. He's a really high-end talent, and is one of the world's class players. So it was an interesting task just to get him back into the system after his suspension, and I've really appreciated the fact that Hockey India and Sparta have come to the fore to bring that back. It's not an easy task, I think, administration in India, and we're all trying to work hard to get things to go where it needs to go.
You coached the Kalinga Lancers in the Hockey India League this year. Can you tell us how that works in terms of being the head coach of India and also working in the Hockey India League? And can you also tell us, Terry, how important is the Hockey India League going forward as part of the rebuild for Indian hockey and the Indian men's team?
Well, I wanted to do it this year because I wanted to see it from the inside, and it was the best way to actually see all the players and all the teams. So it was very, very important to me to see that happen. And so I really wanted to get involved. Next year I won't do it. I'll watch it from the outside and see where things are. It will evolve, and it's probably, in many ways, it's the embryonic lifeblood of world hockey going forward. It's okay, you know, it's higher than the domestic league in India and it's lower than the international scene, but it's good to see all the players from the international scene jumping in there and wanting to play in there, but it's going to be a much higher level. There are a few players who go along and just play just for the fun of it, I think. I don't think that's going to happen for much longer.
No. It seems a common belief that world hockey needs India to be strong and to be relevant. How important do you think this is?
I think it's really important because they bring a style of game, as do Pakistan, that the world doesn't see. And it's been driven out to a large degree by rule changes and the way that things are done, combined with the apathy, for want of a better descriptor, in the way that it's been handled by the subcontinent. And I think that if you get that right, the rule changes are really based towards heavy body work and all the rest of it. And there's a heck of a lot that's taking part in the game that we don't realise, even from our side of the world in Australia. You don't realise just how much that's going on. But the Germans and the Dutch and the Australians particularly, but the English, pretty well everybody, is playing with so much more physical bounds on their play today compared with what it was 20 years ago.
You've coached Australia and you're now holding the position as head coach of India. As a hockey purist, there wouldn't be two bigger jobs in hockey. How much pressure do you feel coaching India, and how important is this job?
Yeah, it's an interesting role. You know, it really is it's professionally really intriguing, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the time so far. And no matter what happens, I'm very, very happy with what we've been able to achieve to date with this group. But it has the potential to be, in my view, in the top 6, and then hopefully into the top 4, and then anything can happen type scenario as they go forward. But if the momentum builds, you've got a huge following in India, and if you can get some success attached to it, then I think that there's going to be the inevitable role of the ball, as it is in cricket in that country. I just look at it as a challenge and a day-by-day situation with the players. Everything's different every day. There's always a catastrophe every week, and there's a significant problem every day. And once you get used to that, then I think that you can get by reasonably well. But in saying all of that, I think that to take a next step, then there has to be some alteration in the way the whole thing works inside the system. And really, that's the stage that I'm at this point in time. If that's not to happen, well, fine. I don't have a problem about that. But I've tried pretty hard for 12 months. Yeah, I think we're getting pretty close. I think legitimately we can play with an expectation against the teams outside the top 3, and the 3 that I put in the top 3 are Australia, Holland and Germany. Not necessarily in that order, but they're the 3 that really sail around at the top for me, and I think all the rest we can play with and expect a result. And we're actually growing with a team that's getting better with each month that passes, and I think that they're going to be a real threat as they go forward. 2016 is obviously the short-term long goal, if that makes sense. A top 6 position there would be a very, very positive thing for Indian hockey, and anything can happen if they continue the momentum. Yeah, if you start pulling a result against some of the top 3 sides in the world, then you've got a real chance of closing in on that.
So that was Terry Walsh, an experienced hockey player, both with Australia and as a coach with India. Real tough job. And we've seen him out on the pitch over the last couple of days, over this past week with his players. He's building some good rapport with them. But as he's found, and as many of his predecessors found, coaching India is a big challenge. He's got to be really authoritarian and really apply his trade and take control of that side, both with the players but also with administration over there as well.
Yeah, I think the great thing watching Terry up close, and we saw some fantastic footage the other night, is just the energy that he's bringing. He's really trying to engage his players and draw everyone together. So you can see he's a world-class coach just by watching the things that he's doing close in and getting his group together. So that's fantastic. I think the other thing you get from that interview, which is really interesting, is you've got to have a thick skin to coach the Indian team. Lots of stuff gets said. The media thick and heavy, and we know in the last 24 hours that they're hailing Terry Walsh as one of the greatest coaches ever, and he's on track, and they're going to win the Olympics, and they get excited with all these sort of things. So he's got to balance out the ups and downs with all of that, and as you say, there's lots of things that he's alluded to that have to be sorted or adjusted with how they administrate the game in India.
Yeah, well, of course, here in Australia, we do talk about Australia a little bit too much. We are the best team in the world at the moment, but of course, and we touched on that, well, you touched on that in the interview as well. For world hockey to be successful, for world hockey to continue to grow, we need a strong Indian team, and it looks like Terry's well on the way to building this Indian side to being a world beater, and we can only hope in the next couple of years that they can push into the top three. Not necessarily the top one. We like the number one spot, but hopefully challenging for those major tournaments soon, because a strong India means strong world hockey. That said, let's actually have a look at what's going on in this third game. Again, the series is tied, so opportunity for either side here to take a series lead. We'll have a look first at the Indian squad again. This is the 20-man squad they've brought out for this series. Again, don't know who's going to play this game. There'll be 2 men from that are dropped for this game. But just looking across that list there, Butch, again, who are the ones that are going to be standouts tonight?
Look, I think Sadar Singh, he talked a lot about him. He probably hasn't been in great form. So I think he's building. Ramandeep started to get some real form. He was sharp, obviously scored that first goal the other night. And we talked about SV Sunil right from the get-go. And he's in world class. He's just in outstanding form. If you're not doing anything tonight, you need to be here to watch a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see a generational player. He's fantastic.
He is fantastic, and he set this crowd alight. Let's have a look at the Australian team now. We've got a couple of changes, and good for Australia, because they're 2 players with plenty of experience. So Sorrello and Devan coming into this squad, so adding some good depth. And I'm going to guess that's going to change it up for the Australian team and for the coaching panel.
Yeah, I think, and also Charter comes in as well. I think the big thing the coaches have talked about, it's their learning and they're developing their group, what this opportunity is all about. They also talked about different things in terms of their expectations. Eddie Ockenden said on the radio this morning, a little bit sloppy. So all that stuff's happening in the back play. But what we know is that this team is the best team in the world, and they don't enjoy losing. So 2 big ins, Devan and Sorrello. Sorrello made a big impact in the first game. Don't underestimate how important he was to that result. This is a big change. It is about squad rotations, but this is about winning. Make no qualms about it.
Yeah, I think given or having spoken and seen the players over the last couple of days, well, they're not chomping at the bit, but they're definitely focused. They definitely want to come out and, I guess, make a statement in this second game. Nobody likes losing, especially when you're on your home turf and you happen to be the number 1 ranked side in the world. So I'm going to expect that the Australians come out pretty early and pressure the Indian squad, especially physically as well. Didn't see a lot of that in the second game. So I'd expect them to be on their game.
Very quiet. Yeah. 2 green cards. Aaron Zalewski gets a card every couple of games, so that's by the by. So yeah, the games have been reasonably tame. So we'll see how hard the Aussies come out early. But first ranked team in the world versus 9th ranked team in the world, you don't lose 2 games at home without throwing the kitchen sink around. That's right.
One player that isn't playing, he's still got a busted thumb from what I understand. He's been sticking in strange places. Is Simon Orchard. He's going to be joining us again. He's going to be joining you up in the box, and we really we enjoyed his commentary in that first test. So he's back with us.
Promoted in the box.
He's been promoted in the box, so he'll be joining us in the commentary again. So I think it's now about time. We're probably very close to the teams walking out. We might actually head down to pitch side, and we'll just take in the pre-game entertainment.
Game 4. Hockey Australia is streaming these games live on our YouTube channel. Tonight's game is 4 15-minute quarters, where you'll see the stick above the shoulder, stick above the shoulder. These are FIH international rules. We have full bar and canteen facilities at the back. We have Kookaburra hats for sale near the main gate. We also have the World Cup, the Kookaburras won earlier this year, as well as the Champions Trophy. They'll be going away to defend their title in India. After the game, kids, after the game down at the scoreboard end, the Kookaburras will be signing autographs. So come on down, get some autographs, and perhaps a photo with your favourite player. After the game, there's also be a penalty shootout.
A huge welcome from the Perth Hockey Stadium. We are here for Test 3 of the Australia v India series. 1-all in the series. My name is Jason Butcher. I'll be heading the commentary for you this evening. I'm joined by Kookaburra midfield, Simon Orchard. Simon, welcome.
Thank you very much, Jason. Fantastic to be here tonight, and already pretty big crowd coming in to watch the third match of this series.
Fantastic crowd. I'm not going to say huge crowd, but it is building. Also, a big welcome to Friz Ferguson down on the boundary. She's just waving, so she'll join in with us in a second. Simon, 1-all in the series. We were disappointed with India in game 1. They came out fighting and they were fantastic in game 2. Lots of things throughout the last few days about a young Kookaburras team learning. Terry Walsh said the Indian team know where they're at and what this series means. So there's a bit of dancing about development versus results. My feeling is that maybe this one's going to be a little bit more up for grabs and maybe there's more on it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it was a pretty nice second match from India, a good way to respond after a pretty disappointing first-up effort when they arrived on Wednesday night. The Australian boys probably didn't play up to the usual standard on Thursday. I know there was a lot of talk over the last couple of days, especially about the quality of essential skills, quality of our basics and the way we can move the ball around with pace, really get this Indian team on the run. A couple of fantastic goals from India on Thursday night, which is always a strength of theirs, that dangerous counter-attack, and hopefully we can shore a few things up tonight. The Kookaburra boys can put a much more polished performance on the ground.
We love our Kookaburras and we love the way they play the game, but as a hockey purist, the goals from India the other night were just top shelf and what we love about hockey.
Oh, spectacular. Sunil's breakaway goal and tomahawk into the top of the net. I think it clipped Tyler Lovell's face on the way through.
Beautiful.
Which was fantastic for Tyler. And yeah, India played much, much better. I think they're here now. They've trained for a couple of days in a row. They've played 2 matches. They've got a bit of a feeling for the environment, the crowd, the turf. Tonight should be a real cracker.
We're looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see how both teams come up. I want to talk to you about a couple of ins. Chris Sorrello, Tim Deven. Is that a statement about what this game means to Australia? We know it's just a development series, but I want to get back to, does the top team in the world lose two games at home to the 9th ranked team in the world?
Oh, rarely. I think Australia doesn't lose 2 in a row too often at all. I think it's been about maybe 10 or 11 years since we've lost 1 match to India. I think Jamie Dwyer was saying the other day 2003 was the last time he could remember losing to an Indian side, which is disappointing. Chris Sorrello and Tim Deven come back into the side, 2 very established defenders. Chris obviously has that world-class drag flick, which is going to be very dangerous for the team. Tim Deven, as you mentioned in the commentary, the last two games brings that enthusiasm, that energy, tone, real aggressive mongrel of a player, and I'm really liking
we like Deven.
I love Deven, and he really hassles the Indians. They don't like that. They like timing the ball, and Deven gets in their grill and really gives it to them. So, yeah, 2 guys in. Matt Willis and Craig Boyne have stepped out tonight, but it's all part of the rotation policy. It's all part of giving everyone a go, and those 2 boys will be back in tomorrow. And
young Hayward keeps his spot. Young Leon in the 2-1 loss kept a clean sheet, so a great start to him with his international career.
Yeah, for sure. And Leon, it was quite interesting. He played the 2 quarters, and I think he waited deep into the 4th to get his first touch. A couple of balls flew past the goal, a few close calls, and then he finally got his first kick of his international career. So great to see him in the net again tonight. And a couple of big ins for India, I think, as well. Rupinder Pal Singh is coming back into the lineup, playing at fullback. He's
big in.
Yeah, probably their best defender, and someone who I'm really looking forward to seeing play tonight.
We just wanted to acknowledge his contribution as team manager, in particular with our World Cup win this year.
2 of the things, Simon, that we've heard over the last few days, and I want you to talk me through these terms for the hockey junkies. Counter control and forward efficiency. What can you tell us about these terms, and what do they mean to the Kookaburras right now?
Counter control, I think, you watch the 2 breakaway goals from India on Thursday night, and there it is. It's pretty poor counter control from the Australian team. Essentially, it just means our defensive group, once the ball moves into our attacking half, those guys have to move up the field. They have to find these straggling Indian forwards, especially someone of Sunil's calibre. He's so quick and so skillful. We need people like Chris Sorrello, Jeremy Hayward, Matthew Dawson to push up, take these guys out of the play. So if the ball does bounce out of our attacking half, they can quickly win it or stifle that quick counter-attack from India. Circle efficiency is something we've been working on a lot in the last couple of weeks. Nathan Eglinton has come on board as our circle efficiency coach. He's talking about getting more outcomes and better outcomes in the circle. So you'll see a lot of far post play, a lot of people in rebounding positions, stick down and really taking quality shots on goal.
Absolutely. You talk about the counter control. It seemed, although you talked about pushing up, at times if you don't get that right and you don't have that depth, you're not compact enough, there's too much space on the outside or behind. So it's a bit of a balance about how you handle that, being ultra aggressive behind the play.
Oh, for sure, and it's something that you'll probably see more, especially against, I think, our side. A lot of teams tend to fall away, fall into their own half and try and defend doggedly throughout the match. They're hoping for that breakaway, that quick counter. Once, twice a half, if we're just off our game, you can see how dangerous teams like India, Pakistan, Malaysia, especially these Asian teams are at running quick and smashing the crap out of that ball.
And when we talk about forward efficiency, give me your thoughts. Looked like in the first two games, Australia a little bit predictable, got to the back line at times, but probably didn't have enough depth consistently with their forward structure, good enough spacings. And then when they did get to those areas, looking for the 90 ball and other things, but just a little bit predictable maybe in their front third.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Jace. I think Nathan, before he's obviously up in Brisbane now, there's a 10-year reunion for the 2004 Athens gold medal team. Before he left, spoke about the width and depth, and that was an important point that our striker group brought up this morning. Pre-game, they want to get a lot of width, early depth, make it easier for our midfielders. That's where we've got guys like Ockenden, Ogilvie, Craig running through there with skills, quick. They're trying to stretch this Indian defence and make more gaps for people to run through.
Absolutely. So we'll look for that tonight. Clearly a thing that the Kookaburras are looking to tighten up on. We look up at the clock, Simon, and it looks like we are a breath away from what bodes to be a crackerjack match. We never know what's going to come from this Indian team, which is one of the things we love about them. We hope they bring their A game again tonight like they did on Wednesday night. And for the young Kookaburras team, they'll be looking to be more consistent and to get their counter control and their forward efficiency at a level that they are after. And we'll see what Tim Devan and Chris Sorello's inclusion does to the balance of all of that. Friz, we might just see if we can cheekily go down to you before we get the national anthems. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It is a little bit cold down here. It's a little bit breezy, but it's absolutely lovely. It's really good to see the crowd rolling in, and I have been told that the queue is going way past the car park, so expect to see a few more people up on the banks there.
And on cue, Friz, here come the Kookaburras and the Indian team. You just feel that energy through the crowd, Orch. This is going to be a big contest.
Expect a reaction tonight, I think, Jason. There's been a lot of talk in the Kookaburras camp, especially over the last 24 hours, about the poor performance from Thursday night. A lot of the boys weren't happy with how they played individually or as a team, so I think expect a big reaction tonight.
Well, you don't become the number one team in the world by not reacting to losses or poor performances. And so as this young group starts to take the mantle and we expose a new group, or Australia exposes a new group of young players, that will be the expectation tonight as we get ready for the anthems.
We have a milestone today for the Indian men's national team. Number 3, Rupinder Pal Singh is playing his 100th international match today. Please put your hands together.
So Rupinder Pal Singh, 100 games for India, fantastic player, fantastic achievement.
Great player, Jason. I think you can see how much he means to this side. 100th game tonight. He's led the side out as captain as well. So he's definitely a pillar of their defence.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand now for the playing of the Indian national anthem. Please remain standing for the Australian National Anthem.
Fantastic to see all those young, we'll call them young athletes, Simon, running off the pitch. Been a heap of events out at the stadium today with a lot of young kids getting access to the stadium to play hockey and be around the Kookaburras. There's a clinic run earlier as well. So fantastic work done by Hockey Australia and Hockey WA with some participation, inclusion, involvement type things as well.
Yeah, great initiative from Hockey WA and Hockey Australia. I think there was about 8 junior clubs out here earlier in the day, and all the Kookaburras not playing in tonight's match are out there coaching at one station each. We were out there for about an hour, and lots of the kids had big smiles on their face and learned a lot of new stuff. So it was great to see so many excited youngsters, and they've hung around, which is the best part.
So there might be a few Kookaburra posters on some walls in the months to come, and some dreams that may begin now, and maybe in 10 years' time or so we'll hear that story about an Olympian who got that fire burning after tonight. So we'll just make a quick mention, Simon. At half-time, we're going to have the absolute privilege of speaking to Hockey Australia CEO Cam Vale. So that's going to be a fantastic privilege for us, but also a good opportunity for the viewers. So if you've got questions for Cam Vale, tweet them to @Kookaburras, and we'll see if we can get your questions to the boss at half-time. I was about to say enough talking, let's get the game going, but we probably need to keep talking, Simon. But looking forward to this one. Here we go. Aggressive start by Gotis, taking the ball and going straight forward, so there's clear intentions by the Kookaburras. Looks like a fair bit of urgency already, Simon.
The set plays become even more important, Jason, especially in this 4-quarter setup. We spoke during the week about getting these free hits.
Or Miss Trapper in the circle.
Getting these free hits from the restarts going. We need some more set plays, and we need to have something in our minds when we're moving forward. You saw that from Godes.
Oh, just probing there outside the Australians. Not too long ago, that would have been a goal. So things change quickly in the game of hockey. There's some bit of pressure. Deven on the outside, didn't handle the ball as he would have liked. Just knocks that one back out. Dawson just looking in. He's got a good little range with those overheads, doesn't he?
He does, and you can already see a lot of width, a lot of depth. The right half up the line, and Jeremy Hayward really questioning those Indian strikers.
Definitely a key focus. Talked through a number of people. Eddie Ockenden, Graham Reid, and the discussion we had today, getting some depth, creating good spacings, making sure the Kookaburras can stretch them out and have some space to work in, a really important part of tonight's game. Hayward's just searching down the outside. Get him away here. No, Kyle Brown's just lobbed that into a bit of a mess.
The right idea there from Kyle, as you said. Jeremy Hayward moved his way up the right, probably got a little jump on his man, and Kyle just didn't execute the pass.
Comedy of errors there. Ockenden misses the trap. Not sure who was on the ball there, but missed the overhead. So skill level not quite world class as we get into this second minute of the game. Promotion up here. Indians have got a bit of an overload. Got their right half right up the field. Easily chopped off the Australians. Getting back in the middle. Brown tries to get the ball out of the help, so it's a little bit laboured. They get held up and we start again. Great ball, Deven. Quite nowhere to go, Godes there when he knocked it forward, looking to get that little 1-2 and get him behind the Indian defence.
It's interesting though, Simon, you look up at that snapshot. I'm not sure what the viewers saw. We'll just see how this one goes first. Need to get some depth certainly in this area of the field, but the depth's still not there. We don't see people getting to the tee point. There's not the width and depth, so maybe that habit needs to be ingrained a little bit more.
Oh, I think so, and you can see straight away a great ball into Goads as Kyle Brown has the pill here. Tristan White playing in the midfield tonight. We want to try and hold the ball in this attacking half. I think that was the best part about Goads' trap. Received, nothing on, dished it back out to Eddie Okinen, who had some forward vision, and we can go through another angle.
So looking at a plan about the decision making there, an intent to keep the ball if there's not good opportunities to probe straight away. And then the Australians obviously need to get that structure right as Kyle Brown. It's interesting, that little pass, a learned practice skill now, potentially hitting the ball deliberately through the air.
Oh, I think it has to be, and that was something that we also discussed. We got the ball into dangerous positions around the edge of the circle. Maybe just didn't take our chances. Graham Reid spoke about every now and then giving it the berries, as Rob Haven used to say, and cracking that ball in.
So Darren Veer just knocked the ball out there. They managed to get the ball out to the helps. Great little overhead to the other side of the field. Oh, one out. Charter makes the first save. Fantastic work from the big Australian goalkeeper. He's hurt himself though. Some great play by the Indians.
Fantastic, and you can see that aerial threat, something that's becoming more and more ingrained in our game of hockey at the moment. The ability to shift the ball from one side to the other quickly. An unfortunate Matthew Dawson just slipped at the wrong time there, but Andrew Charter, one of the best goalies in the world, came up with a really great save.
It's great work by Charter just to close that space and make sure he's in the frame. Looked like Akish deep there had that shot, so he had a good opportunity. Probably needed to do a little bit more with that. It's a lively beginning. A little 2-on-2 on the sideline there with the Indians. Watched them practice a lot of that this morning, Simon. So just working through how they can create 2-on-1s through those midfield areas.
And interesting to see, just looking at Indians' starting lineup, Sardar Singh not out there. I'm not sure if he's...
No, I think I saw Sardar just walk, not actually in the playing kit. So
in the tracksuit.
I think he's been a late admission, or certainly against the information we have, doesn't look like he's playing tonight.
You see Manpreet Singh will step into the middle. He's almost become their most influential player. I know Sardar's got all the tricks, but Manpreet Singh's a real pro. He's got all the tricks. He's going to take that centre-half role and hopefully direct India around the park tonight.
So the dynamics of that will be interesting because Sardar's been the linchpin for such a long time. And so that'll be a good experience for the Indian team, but potentially something that they may struggle to settle with early.
And maybe a look to the future. We spoke about the Kookaburras changing, a lot of new faces. 3 or 4 years down the track, Sardar might not be there, and that's where Manpreet will come into his own.
Great ball by Kyle Brown. Just a little mistrap there. It's like Jeremy Hayward. We see that a bit lately, just searching forward, getting in front.
And the defenders love that play. They love sneaking up into the circle. Under Rick Charlesworth, they're almost given a licence to get as high as possible, create danger. Tim Devon scored a fantastic goal at the World Cup, getting into the circle. And then a pretty rough celebration, to be honest, where he rode the boat on the sideline.
Just gets that through. It's got time. It's a wide angle, though. Not sure about the percentages of that. Flinogue will be there in the corner. Let's work this ball out of the corner. A little small game in the corner. The Indians are quite comfortable in these situations, and I'm going to say reckless. It's not the right word, but
interesting call.
Some of their methodology in terms of getting out of defence is stressful, I would think, for their head coach, Terry Walsh.
That was Gurbaj Singh who threw that overhead across the circle. The Australian team have really focused on his influence on the game. They want to keep him quiet. He's such an attacking threat at right half, moving forward with a great right to left drag. Hopefully he stays quiet tonight for our sake.
Quick little execution feed pass from Eddie Okinen there, but the Indians are on the break and they're away. They've got runners. Lala outside on the left. He may get the ball. They've gone the other way, but potentially had a bit of an overload here on the left. It's a good little opportunity for the Indians, but they can't quite execute. He's a fantastic athlete, Tom Craig, isn't he?
Oh, he's quick.
Big, strong boy. Just see him starting to stride out there. Lots of... Stephen's got to be brave. We know he will be. Just chops that off. A couple of little skill errors like that out there tonight, which is would not be something that we'll be happy about at quarter time.
Well, won't please Graham Reid. That was the sole intent before the match. Quality of basic skills, essential skills, makes life so much easier if you can just get those traps and passes under wraps.
Well, and that's not even in the higher end, is it? That's just preparation and concentration off the ball. Have you seen Manpreet's influence so far in that midfield role? He looks busy.
Yeah, very busy. We actually think he reminds us a lot of one of our coaches, Paul Godoyne, and the way he plays, just his ability to get the ball, spot up players further up the field. He knows a lot about where the spaces are on the field. He's very clever, doesn't carry the ball too much, just likes to get, give, and that's what a really good centre-half can do. Industrious.
Sorello picks that off behind the line. Measured, finds a target as he always does. Witherspoon was looking inside. He's overcooked that a little bit though. Just trying to get Beale on the outside. In a bit of trouble here. Bit of trickery from Manpreet. Would have enjoyed that. And Ogilvie up front. How do you see that, and where do you see his best position?
I think that's just about gaining a bit more flexibility. Obviously, Ogilvie played in the midfield the first couple of games.
Fantastic too.
Yeah, thought did a great job. He's playing up front tonight. Eddie Ockenden slid back into the midfield where he probably plays his best hockey. And it's just about Flynn, becoming more flexible, adding a few more strings to his bow.
Certainly see that in a lot of sports now where the expectation is that players can play through lines, be versatile, and you almost can't be a complete team unless you can make those changes quickly and when required. Great ball here, Aussies looking for a corner. A lot of traffic in there. Good strength, composure.
Good save from Srijesh.
Really good save by Srijesh. Just held his nerve there. Didn't engage in that too early. Just let his defence do the job and then made the save when he needed to. Oh. Sure that was.
Very nice skills from Lalit there, I believe. Right to left drag over and over again.
Bit of an overbalance. I'm not sure he got roughed up as bad as that seemed, all this. I haven't seen a lot of tension in the games though, so maybe the 1-1 and the 0-0 scoreline is just chopped off there at the back. Great work there by Edwards.
And maybe those first two games are about sussing each other out, maybe having a look at one another. Tonight, it seems like both teams are up for a really good battle.
Sorella gets caught out in the autoplay. 3D skills, found some space. Oh! Jada was all at sea there.
Fantastic work from Ramandeep Singh. Just the ability to get the ball in the air. It's so difficult to tackle when a striker or a midfielder can get that ball in the air. The 3D skill, as you saw there, beat 1, 2, 3, and then slipped a pretty good pass. Probably should have finished that.
Probing ball there. It almost looked like the Australians were shell-shocked. They just watched that unfold. But as you say, a more complex situation to deal with as the ball in the air in the circle. Give away a corner, get too close, adds another dimension to the defensive problem, obviously.
Yeah, for sure. And someone...
Great ball. Indians are away here. They've got numbers. Just need to try and get around this first offender. The Aussies have done well just to give away that free hit and close that down, so they got numbers back. So we'll go back to those 3D skills in a minute, Simon. I think it's an important thing to discuss in today's hockey. Just watch the Indians here. And we see that little 3D ball as well there, so it's lots of opportunities for it, isn't there?
Without doubt, I think the ability to
redirect.
To get that ball in the air. And as a defender, you have to have more depth in your tackles. Someone like Mark Knowles always talks about the ability to get forward and poke, but maintain your depth as the ball's fired into the circle. Well done by Dawson to win a free hit.
Fantastic by Dawson. Bit of watching in that little play as well from some of the Australian defenders.
Just a bit disjointed from the Kookaburras at the moment here, struggling to get these basic skills under control.
Akish Deep starting to show some real flair in that front area. Yeah, Hayward just bursting forward there, didn't really have a connection with what his role might have needed to be in that play. It's a pretty even contest at this stage, I'd have to say. 3 minutes to go before the end of the first quarter. Indians have had their moments, and so have Australia. And here we go, India on the break. Punch through the circle and wasteful. But they're getting in behind it, and they're getting the Australians in situations where they don't seem too comfortable at the moment, Simon.
That was SV Sunil again there, Jason, the great goal scorer from the second match. Another nice turn, just got Matthew Dawson on the wrong side. That explosive speed and ability to fire into the circle, and probably should have just hit that along the ground.
Great, or nice little redirect there from Wetton. Dumps it back, gets the numbers. Another little redirect from Godas. I know you're going to tell me you guys practice that a lot, because it seems a really important part of hockey now. Just trying to break up, get behind the free defender.
I think the ability to fire the ball you saw there, fire it to a striker who can knock it back to someone running forward with vision, that's a key of our game today, the ability to fire into Goads, and that little redirection, just the connection was just off, whether that's Goads not playing with someone like Dylan Wotherspoon too often, or Daniel Beals playing up front tonight. The connections just don't seem to quite be there at the moment.
Great pick up,
14 minutes in.
And at the top level, defenders are all world class, defend well as units. Everybody works hard on the game, everybody trains hard, and so you've got to do more than just the average to try and break these defences up, don't you?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think it's interesting as Manpreet wins a free hit here with Zalewski hassling him as always. Looking at the Indian defence, we talked about Rapinda coming back into the side tonight, throwing Gajinder as well as Ragunov. They've got a three-pronged aerial attack, probably a bit more variety in the way they come out of defence. Three big guys, but so you look at Jake Wetton, you look at Matt Goads, these nippy guys in and around their feet, maybe causing a few troubles tonight.
On cue, some hard running by Jacob Wetton to get ahead of the play. Got numbers coming through, but they just get held up again. The Indians done a good job of that so far. Something even in the first game thought the Indian team did pretty well. Got numbers back. Their counter control initially on the first phase was pretty good. The situations that have got them into trouble have been their sharpness around the defensive circle, protecting their feet, being able to keep pressure on people. They're marking at times. So that's an area that they're going to have to continue to work really hard on.
As Tristan White fires a great slide pass into the circle, one of the real attributes that Tristan brings to the side, that hard sliding pass, very hard to read for a defender, and as you saw there, great pass into the circle.
Godas nonchalantly knocks that above his head, back to where the stoppage is. Ooh. And that is that. Quarter time, 0-0, Australia v India. Third test here at the Perth Hockey Stadium, Western Australia. I'm joined here by Simon Orchard. Simon, some pretty sharp hockey compared to probably the first two games. I think both teams have upped the ante in most areas. There's moments of poor concentration with basic skill and some other things, but some of the hockey was a really high standard. What are your thoughts about the first quarter?
Yeah, I agree. I think so far
nowhere near enough work off the ball.
Terry Walsh gives his team a
sprint like this, and then all of a sudden the playmates and they want to join in.
I think we've got that all on the audio, so we'll just let Terry go.
Running every second of the play. It's running at the right time, over 2 metres, over 5 metres, sometimes 2 lots of 3 metres. But we've got to make movement off the ball at the right timing. We're just spectating. So that's number one, and it's got to happen everywhere. All right? There's some great play, but there's nowhere near enough movement to keep easy possession of the ball. Number two, the transfers or the use of the holes. There are holes everywhere. The last one, Googie, this is an easy ball for you, but you choose to throw the difficult one. Throw it simply into the holes. You saw how good that one was from Coda. That's happening all over the pitch. You can throw it on an angle very, very simply and create all sorts of trouble. So that's number two. Number three, composure to finish. I didn't hear one call that Sunil had time to shoot that ball.
Finishing last final touch पे थोड़ा
composure. Now let's go. We need to lift the level. We need to lift the level. Come on. Let's get the level.
Fantastic insight there for the viewers from Fizz Ferguson. Great job, Fizz. not a lot of time at quarter time. Really great job by Terry Walsh to get those 3 points out. Seemed really, really clear messages. Mark Knowles spoke the other night about athletes not liking drifting messages, was his term, which is a great term. What was your take of the messages there for the Indian team?
Oh, very great halftime talk from Terry, I thought. Straight to the point, grabbed their attention immediately, revved them up a bit. And
grabbed
then,
our attention.
Yeah, grabbed our attention for sure. And then quite funnily finished with a talking point about composure. I like the way he grabbed their attention early. He gave the direct points. You could hear the translator in there as well. That's quite an interesting thing, having to translate from English maybe to Hindi or whatever the Indian boys are speaking. So, yeah, really good halftime address from Terry Walsh.
Second quarter here, Australia v India, third test. 0-all scoreline. Just got a little trip out there on the outside. Young Dylan Wotherspoon getting involved in the game. Possibly a little bit clumsy. The Australians just sitting back, expanding out reasonably quickly, try and keep the Indians here on one side. Got a foot race here with Coda and Dilbil. The real Dilbil. No, I thought he'd won that effort, but just comes off second best.
And Kothajit, a pretty clever player on the ball there. You could see Daniel Beale gave him a bit of space, took it, ran down the sideline. Just those nifty little skills to win a free hit's really important.
Just gave him enough room to get on the advantage line there, didn't he? Deep in the Australian defensive third. Intercept Chris Sorello. Australians are away, but they don't have numbers forward. Godas on the outside now, though, so he's going to get a one-on-one. See if he can stay front on and have a clean go at this. Gets held up, though. Eddie Ockenen's time. Quick hands. Puts that into the body on the ground. Was seemingly happy with that. And a quick way, but umpire Murray Grimes. Great turn there, Akish Deep. Showing some real skill, probably just not able to get his head up and get the ball away from that skill so far in this game.
We saw that last attacking foray from Australia as Chris Sorello makes another good intercept. Actually set up from Chris Sorello on the hotline to goal. Made the intercept, fed it to Dylan Wotherspoon. A really crisp bit of skill to find Goads running forward at pace. That's the sort of areas we want people like Matt Goads, Daniel Beale, Jacob Wetton running one-on-one with defenders. I reckon maybe Matt could have taken him to the baseline, gone one-on-one, tried to get a shot away.
Seems to have a knack of getting in the right place for the spoon. He won't be happy. His commentary over the game's been that he's had opportunities that he would like to be taking. So there's another one.
He's a big, strong boy, Jace. As Zaluski
gets tangled again.
Pretty reckless challenge there, and unfortunately he's off with a yellow card.
Had a green the other day, so not a great series in that regard for Aaron Zaluski. And in the quarters format, you would think it is no difference, but it seems to be a bit more costly, the time off with green and yellow cards.
Well, I think already there's been a bit of talk about momentum swings, especially in this essentially shorter format. I think having someone off for 5 minutes of a quarter, a third of a quarter can potentially swing the momentum maybe in India's favour. In saying that, the first match I think we went down maybe a player or two and we managed to score a goal, which sort of defies the logic, but hopefully Australia won't get hurt by that. Unfortunate challenge from Zaluski there.
Another little handling error there from Jeremy Hayward. Got a bit of commentary here from assistant coach Godoy. Not sure what that's about. I think that's about where the free was taken, just making sure that Murray Grimes is getting that right from the Australian perspective. Australians seem happy to sink back initially. Not too worried about expanding out too early, so reasonably conservative about how they're defending this back half. What are your thoughts on that, Orch? What's the strategy behind them sitting deep here?
I think as soon as you go down a player, as Flynn Ogilvie almost gets an intercept there, you sort of have to suck back. Great tackle. Great tackle from Ockenham there, probably unfairly penalised. You have to suck back, Jason. I think you've got to put numbers behind the ball, try and soak up the clock. If we do get the ball, we want to play it in our attacking half. Try and use as many of these minutes as possible until Aaron can get back on the field.
And so what's the strategy in possession? Talk about keeping possession in the front half. Are you sending only a certain amount of players forward? How do you manage other things like counter control and so forth with the player down?
Oh, I think as soon as you've got the ball, they can't score. That's the key. You've got to hold on to it, preferably in our attacking half. You don't want to take too many risks. When they've got the ball, obviously you suck back, try and protect the circle's edge. Pretty much just bite, fight, scratch, do whatever you've got to do until we're back to 11 players.
And a quick rearrange to play with 2 strikers. Those strikers obviously working quite hard through that period to slide across and do a lot of extra defensive work.
That's the other thing. The substitutions are so stringent these days. We've got a plan on how we substitute. Zaluski going off maybe messes that up a bit. You see the strikers having to work a lot harder. Wotherspoon and Ogilvie at the front here, pretty much just running side to side, doing their best to try to cover the 4 Indian defenders. So
and maintaining their normal rotations.
Yeah.
Great ball there. Oh, 2. They're troubling the Australians with some of their crash ball play. They haven't overdone it tonight, had a good balance, would be my thoughts. But a good opportunity there for the Indians with 2 of the boys able to have a crack at that.
And quite fortunate, Ramandeep managed to get in front there. The touch was just shy of the goal, but Nicken had ducked in on the back post. I'm not sure if he had just got free, maybe because we're a man down. Thankfully, it didn't fall to him.
One of the differences the viewers will note with a lot of the Indian deflection, we'll just watch Jagaway's going to get the ball back. Oh, that's brilliant.
Very nice.
Great footwork, great hands.
Pretty good.
Looking for Wetton to get the ball in the air there and just use his speed around the outside, duck back in. Very composed out of the back, the Indian team.
Away.
One of the things you would have seen, Simon, in Hockey India League and certainly playing India is their different approach to deflections and those crash ball scenarios where they're quite upright and very good hands, but they sort of approach it a bit different than potentially young Australian players would be as they're brought through the system.
Yeah, I think the ability of the Indians as they steal off Simpson here, they're away.
Got runners. Great work. Had 2 players ahead of the ball there. Chris Sorello just put himself in front of that and broke that down reasonably comfortably in the end. He's been pretty important with a lot of his intercepts, a lot of last man tackles. We said he would be important though. Experienced player coming back through the midfield.
You see Chris Sorello playing is a bit more of that free defender role tonight, something that Mark Knowles has become quite accustomed to over the years. And to Chris's credit, he's playing a fairly good game. He's on the right lines, he's getting to the right spots, he's working hard, and that's something that the coaching staff are always into him about. He's doing really well tonight. Great performance so far from Sorello. As Ogilvie goes for a trapdoor, didn't quite come off, and Kajinder makes another intercept. The dangerous Gurbage on the ball.
It's had an interesting series, Gurbage. Hasn't been, I would say, inconsistent, but it probably can, as we just watch this drive, gets a bit tangled, and that's play on apparently, so that's a bit messy. And we give the ball back. Well, that's 10 seconds most people would like to have back. But Gurbage certainly can be a player of real impact for the Indians. There's that 90 ball back to no one. So the Indians are struggling to find a connection off the baseline with that play as well.
And I think you spoke about the ability to crack that ball in, especially from the right-hand side a bit earlier. Gurbage is one of the best exponents of that in world hockey. Himself and Darren Viesing on the right, pretty formidable combination. A lot of dangerous cracking balls. They hit the ball so cleanly, and it's something that you see more and more from the Indians than anyone else. A lot of
strength of Indian hockey, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of Europeans and even Australian players slap so often these days. There's not a lot of clean hitting, especially around the back. The Indians still have those fundamental basics of hockey, probably better than anyone in the world.
We've seen Gurvage's ability to get the 1-2s and get himself up the line in behind the play. He's also brought into his game the ability to cut inside, get the ball to the help side. So when he plays with a balance of those things and plays with that sort of versatility, he's one of the key players in this Indian team.
For sure, and it's interesting to know a couple of years ago he went out of the side. I'm not really sure why, under Coach Michael Nobbs.
So one of the collateral damage from the Olympics, failed Olympics London campaign?
Yeah, probably. Just was for some reason out of the sides. Had 2 really good Hockey India leagues with the Delhi Wave Riders, culminating in a win, obviously, in this year's competition. And he's one of the most dangerous attacking players, attacking halfbacks in the world. Defence leaves a little bit to the imagination, but his attacking play is really first rate.
He gets caught out a lot because he goes forward so much, so that's a balanced thing with their game plan. But certainly he's a very attacking player. So watch Steve in his closest circle. His recovery is fantastic, Devon. He's a real competitor. Great lesson for young players watching this game. Make errors, next job. Tim Devon is one of the best in the world at that stuff.
As we see the ball shifting from Brown to Dawson at the back here, just trying to get these Indian forwards running. Sorello fires a great ball in. Wetton just misses the deflection. Great ball from Sorello. Great lateral lead from Wetton, and good play from our defenders to move that ball quickly.
It's good work by Simpson and Sorello too in those defensive midfield positions. Just a little interchange, asking different questions of the Indians.
Come on, mate. Oh, we talking there?
Zaluski post, Roswell back to Simpson. Edwards getting high. Sorry, that's Hayward. Been a bit more patient here, Australia. I think at the times where they've just moved the ball around quickly and tried to earn the right almost to go forward with that quick ball movement and just sharing possession, that's when they've looked their best during this series.
As Wetton tries to sneak away with the ball there.
Don't play it again. Sideline.
I think you're right, Jason. The ability to move the ball quickly at the back not only opens up gaps somewhere else on the field, it wears the Indian forwards out. That's what you want to do. Move the ball quickly, get these Indian strikers chasing, and then feed the ball into the likes of Zaluski and Simpson to set up these forward forays.
Pressure by Beale, but he gets turned inside out a little bit.
Really good skills from Lacra there.
Turn by Wetton, but he loses his footing.
Good battle there between the 2 smallest men on the field.
Oh, he would have put a little period there for Cother, but he just needed to do a little bit of a better job with that. Still 0-0. 2 minutes 50 to go in the second quarter as we wind down into half-time. It's been an entertaining game. Both teams have had their chances, but no real clear-cut chances. Simpson starting to come into his own, and the Australians have got a real focus here of just shifting the ball around. Zaluski back out to Brown. Brown looks inside. Not the one to pull the trigger, just dumps it back out again. Great little touch down the line from Devon through Zaluski.
Hayward playing with a lot of endeavour tonight. You see him on the end of that pass again, playing that attacking halfback role, really questioning these Indian forwards, and most of the time forcing Ramandeep Sunil to run 50, 60 yards to go with him, which is quite dangerous.
Sloppy there.
It's quite interesting to watch, Jason, the back 4 of the Indian side. We talked about those 3 tall towers before, Gajinda, Rapinda and Raghunath, and then you've got Kothajit and Lacra, who offer the different, speed, good defence, ability to carry the ball, maybe not the aerial threat of the other 3. They really complement each other well.
Beale knocks it out. Simpson's looking in, trying to get the ball to the other side of the field. The Aussies are away here. Brown can get forward into space.
Nice play from Simpson and Edwards, finding Brown on the left, and goes one-on-one with his defender. Good aerial skills.
He's still under pressure. He's got to work their way back out. The old fake hit.
Gets them every time.
Every time. It's a favourite from some of the Indian defenders. .50 seconds down. Both teams need to be careful here, but potentially an opportunity if either team can get a turnover in the midfield and get them on the break. And Indians are away. They've got space here on the outside. Kathat looks up, he's got time. Just got held up a bit, but he finds a target. Indian team not happy with that tackle from behind, but the umpires wave it on, and now the Australians are on the break. Bit of razzle-dazzle, left and right. Gajinda just knocks that away. So some good defence in this last minute, Simon.
A really nice tackle from Gajinda to tackle Tom Craig on the fly there. A really nice sight to see him stretching out, running fast through the midfield. Some good play from SK Uthappa from India as well. He's become quite dangerous as Jeremy Edwards cracks this ball in. The last couple of minutes, Uthappa's got the ball and channeled inside, opened up as Edwards goes again. And that's half time. The ability to cut in, Jason, and open up the Australian defence, get it to the help side is really dangerous.
I must say, I love that run by Tom Craig. A couple of shoulder feints, a bit of speed. He's an outstanding athlete, isn't he?
Really, really good.
Picture a rugby league ball with his arms running through there.
And he'd run over the top of someone, that's for sure. Really exciting moment there for Tom Craig, and hopefully the boys will get a rev up, come out firing in the second half.
0-0 half-time. Fantastic display of hockey. Hockey Australia would like to thank our sponsors,
So we'll just wrap up that half quickly. I have just been joined by our special guest. So 0-0 at half time. Both teams making their way back in underneath to work through their plan of attack for the third and fourth quarter. Test 3. Test series Australia v India, and score is 0-0 at half time. As we said earlier in the call, we are joined by Hockey Australia's CEO, Cam Bale. Cam, pleasure to have you here. Really looking forward to some of the questions.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it too. Let's hope they're challenging but not too tough.
No, we've had a look and we picked out the best ones for you, so I'm sure we're going to look after you. So we'll get started straight away, so you can put your time and get some great answers into this. Great insight for the hockey community of Australia. So Mark Smith from Druin, West Victoria. First question, what is the plan for Hockey Australia to raise the media profile of the game in Australia?
Yeah, so good question for Mark to kick it off. So working with our General Manager of Media at the moment, Lawrence West, we've set a plan, which the best way to describe it is about being relevant. And in 2015, we're determined to find what our broadcast solution or platform is, and the first priority is being relevant to the hockey people. So, having events like this covered, by you guys has been really great, and it's about trying to make the sport as relevant as possible from a broadcast perspective to the hockey people, and then you grow from there. So we are working closely with the Sports Commission as well to find a solution, and the reality is that broadcasts on television can be an incredibly expensive exercise and is not necessarily where we're at. And again, solutions like what we're providing this week will hopefully, with the numbers, will show that we're on the right path.
Fantastic, great answer, great question, Mark Smith. David Cole from Brisbane. Is there any international hockey that will be broadcast on TV in the January-February timeframe? We continually see great TV ratings for Olympics, Commonwealth Games, etc., but they never transition into new recruits due to them being at the wrong time of the year.
Yeah, so David's identified a pretty hot period for sports away from certainly, AFL and Rugby League to try to get some coverage. So internationally, we've got the Champions Trophy for men and women in December. The Hockey India League will, we don't know for certain exact time and coverage, but Fox Sports have picked it up in the last couple of years and done a really good job covering that. So we'd expect that will be on. And, extending a little bit further, that's a window that's part of my thinking about what we might do down the track as far as our own Australian content. It is a good period to be on, there's no doubt about that.
Fantastic. Jane Patton from Hobart, Tasmania. Young athletes develop at different ages, and some will bloom later or with some additional coaching input. It appears current identification is Junior World Cup age appropriate only, so targeted, I guess. Yeah,
look, your talent pathway model, certainly the athletes that are coming through at that age through a Junior World Cup programs, they are a key part of what we'd identify for the future, and we're doing a fair bit of work on that at the moment. We've got a futures camp on the Gold Coast, but it does in December, but it does extend beyond that. And as we see, we have about 180 athletes that are identified as being, potentially nationally identified athletes from 15 years upwards. So it is a big pool, and we never close our eyes to that late bloomer that does come through, 22, 23, 24, that we can pick up. I mean, it is the exception to the rule, but they are certainly still identified. The Australian Hockey League, has a range of athletes that are playing, and that is clearly still a vehicle for our national selectors to identify maybe that talent that's blooming a bit later.
No doubt a fantastic time to be a young athlete in Australia, in Australian hockey. Brendan Hart, Rowville, Victoria. Cam, what needs to happen commercially to get the AHL broadcast on Foxtel?
Yeah, well, okay. That's how long have we got? That's a tough one, but a good one. Look, the AHL from a hockey quality perspective is outstanding. So there's no dramas there. But at the end of the day, it gets back probably to that first question. We've got to create a bigger sense of relevance to the hockey community, and I think the AHL has enormous potential. But the model at the moment, we're not getting big crowds. Saying to someone earlier in the night, television, they're interested in a lot of things, but they want to put something on that has a lot of people, a lot of coverage. Like tonight, where you see the banks are full, the stands are full. And the AHL at the moment is not attracting enough spectators to the event, let alone that broader interest. So we are going to put a fair bit of work into reviewing the AHL in the first 6 months of 2015 and really reconsidering, is this the right platform to get onto a Fox Sports? And you've got to talk to the broadcast partners, and they, you look at some of the other sports, newer franchises, sometimes newer models, move away from that state of origin type setup. We'll have to look at everything when it comes to the product, whether it's AHL or something else that's potentially on a Fox Sports.
Peter Chisholm, moving on quickly, Perth, WA. Will FIH be moving to a more media-friendly approach when it comes to international games? Things like interviews with player coaches at breaks and immediately after the game, slightly longer breaks at penalty corners to allow commercial breaks for television, cameras inside goals, etc.
Well, I know Peter Chisholm actually. He's I've got to get a plug in. He's a big part of the Osdrill family, sponsor of the Hockey Roos. So passionate supporter, a little bit crazy at times. So I'll get that out of the way first.
We love him.
Yeah, FIH are the governing body. I've just come back from their Congress in Morocco last week, where they've outlined their 10-year sort of strategic plan, and they're as focused on television as what we would be in a lot of the other countries. So there is a push, and some of these changes, whether people like it or not, around going to quarters, is about trying to create more opportunities for the athletes to celebrate, more commercial breaks, a more TV-friendly product. So it is on their radar. I think getting the right broadcaster to cover the sport is critical as well. And I think, before my time, that there's been criticisms at different bigger events that they haven't been covered that well from a hockey perspective. So having, directors, cameramen, producers, etc., that actually know the sport is step one. And absolutely bringing in some of that innovative technology, the interview, all sports now, you want to be open to the media. So interviewing, what you guys are doing here at half time, with camera shots in the rooms, all that sort of stuff, you just go, there's no end to it. How can we, hockey, bring the fans closer to the action?
Yeah, certainly some new things and some exciting things we've seen over the last week. We'll try and get the last one in quickly. Lachlan Jennings from Brisbane. How are you going to get more people to play hockey? So I'll give you the big one at the end.
Yeah, so outside of winning with our national teams, the other key focus for us as an organisation is to grow participation. I use the line, participation is the legacy of your sport. It's a legacy of potentially, what I will do as CEO. So it's something that is, highest interest of us as an organisation. Schools, I think, is a really big opportunity in the next 12 months that hockey can integrate in a bigger way and compete with bigger sports, and probably what we have. We've got a great product. We have great people that teach and coach the game. And we have a great base of people that are playing through clubs and associations now. The opportunity to grow participation is to get to the next group of people, not just rely on people that know the sport, that are, the family orientation of the sport is fantastic, but we need other people that are not connected to the sport going, hey, I want to try it. And probably our other main vehicle, look, Hook into Hockey is a product that is, it is growing, it is getting better, it's not at maturity. We know we can do more with that. And that, to me, would be, combined with schools, and probably the third part, I said it's a difficult question to answer quickly, schools, Hook into Hockey, and look, we do have to consider something like Hockey Fives. Where does Hockey Fives come into play, or Nines, or whatever it might be? to basically get a stick in people's hand and playing the sport. And, you know, social forms of the sport are probably the biggest growing part of any sport at the moment, as opposed to that organised, formal, structured play. So we have to look at those three key areas. I'm really confident we've got the product to make massive inroads, and we're talking, you know, we'd like to double our numbers from now in the next 4 to 5 years.
Fantastic answer, mate. I know that's a big question. Cam Vale, thanks for your time. Absolute privilege for me, and some great insights to our hockey community.
Look, thanks for the opportunity. Great to promote the sport, and we really appreciate everything you guys are doing this week as well.
Kookaburras winning tonight?
Look, I saw Graham before the game. He was pretty relaxed, so I think that's a good sign, but it'll be really close. India's a good team.
Thanks, mate. We welcome everybody back to the third quarter as my co-host Simon Orchard tucks back into his seat. Had lots of privileges in your life, Simon. Now you've got to reclaim the seat that our CEO has just been sitting in, so that's another one to put on your list. And we're away. Had some time to think about. Oh, we just got to watch this break. A bit sloppy, the Australians. Not a great start. Just got nudged off the ball there. Ocken did a reasonable job just to put enough weight on that.
A pretty dangerous ball from SV Sunil. Got the ball in his hook and just fired it across. Really hard to defend. Darren Veer on the back post. As you said, Eddie Ocken did a good job just to knock him off balance.
Yeah. It's a thing not spoken about a lot, but certainly the ability to control spaces with your body and have a physicality that's legal within our game is becoming more and more important.
It's almost just about being unsociable, as Dylan Wotherspoon almost sneaks his way through, gets a free hit just outside the 25, and will look for Chris Sorello or Tristan White to really fire this ball in.
Sorello will be looking forward to this. We know outside the 25 we don't need to get that 5-metre redirect, so he's got the opportunity to sling this in and get a bit of height. Oh, and just needed to stay down. Just looking for a foot in there through the circle, but missed opportunity from young Dylan Wotherspoon. Just needed to keep his head over the ball there. Looked like he just pulled out of that a bit at the last moment.
Yeah, fantastic ability from Chris Sorello to sit on the ball there and fire to Wotherspoon on the back post as Dawson makes a good effort to get across.
It's a great opportunity for someone like Chris Sorello, who's such a fantastic passer, to be able to sit up there and fling the ball in and hit targets. I'm sure it's something he looks forward to, certainly practices a lot.
And you can see Raghunath from the Indian side, probably two of the best exponents in the world, as Ockenden makes a fantastic tackle. Yeah, Raghunath as well gets up into those dangerous areas, and the speed that these guys fire the ball in, and as you spoke about earlier, just a little bit off the ground, so hard to trap.
The game continually evolves. We changed the rule in the game to take some danger away from people smashing the ball into the circles. And we've taken it 10 yards back outside the 25, and there's still a little bit of danger, isn't there? That ball comes in quickly. It's hard to pick up. It's curving. It's bouncing. So you've got to be brave and you've got to be good to play at this level.
And it's a free defender's nightmare. Mark Niles, the best, I reckon, free defender in the world. As Beale gets a free hit.
Get away here. Beale's got to get behind him. And Wotherspoon's got a one-on-one. A little bit too cute in the end for my liking. Pushes Beale a little bit wide. The Australians cough that up. Hayward's on the burst. Intercept through the midfield. Not great work there by the Indians. They get another chance at it though here. Just need to steady. Make sure they get the ball away from danger or complete a pass further up the field. And they've got one. And oh, we're away again. SV Sunil. It's got the one. It's got a cross circle. Great save, but it's still in play. Oh! And the crowd is going nuts from underneath us. Got a headset on Simon, but I cannot hear myself talk at the moment.
The Indian fans in the front row going absolutely berserk as SV Sunil fires a great ball, great play from Andrew Charter there, and Akashdeep picks it up, fires to the far post. SV Sunil
great little squeeze.
Tap it in.
Charter got caught a little bit too far off his line there.
Two Australian boys won't be happy with that. Just got in the inside of him.
It's not a great slow frame there at the end of that replay, is there? Bit of ball watching, perhaps.
quite fittingly finished off by SV Sunil. He managed to pick that ball up on the far side, knock it past Dawson and get it into the circle to begin with, becoming quite a handful for the Australian defence.
Well, I'm not sure commentators should have favourite players, but Bruce McAvaney seems to like Cyril Rioli, so it seems to be a thing that happens, but SV Sunil's hockey in the last week has just been extraordinary.
He's delicious, that's for sure.
Delicious. He's going to get away again. He's got a taste for it. You watch Sunil come from behind here. You watch him. Here he goes. Number 24 streaming through the midfield. Around the outside, dumps it back. Sunil's got it on cue and just couldn't find the target. Well, you can make pretty bold prediction when he comes flying through on the counters because you know he's going to get involved somehow.
Great desperation from Devon, diving full length there just to try and knock that ball out of the way as Ogilvy wins it here. Just need to get some composure, win a free hit, settle it down.
Well done, Cole Brown. Good man to have it there. The Australians are under siege. The Indian team have a taste for it, and Sunil's hot and up and running, so that's usually a pretty good indicator if anything from the last week is to go by. So the Australians are going to have to steady here. You talked a bit about momentum, swings and control, Simon. What's the Australian strategy? What do you need to do here to get this just on terms or settled?
I think we just need to calm down. You can see here.
As Gerbage breaks, and here we go. Sunil again, he's trying to be... Wow. Just changed his tack there a bit, didn't he? Tried to come in, maybe getting a bit too excited about his recent play, but he's dangerous.
He's dangerous. Well done from Sorello to win a hit, and this is what we need to do. Just slow the play down, gain some composure, get the ball on the end of our stick. Good basic skills as Beale unfortunately mistraps that in the midfield.
So Bill receives that open on his reverse. Maybe the right option in that situation, but should he close that off, secure the ball? Do you change your approach with a few skills?
I think you have to. Is some good work from Flynn Ogilvy there to twist and turn his way through. I think it's just about being a strong, solid target, especially at the front. A pretty good ball there from Sorello. Beale maybe just could have got his bottom around. On another day, he traps it on his reverse and he sets up a really good attacking play. So, especially at this stage of the game, just to gain some composure, get the ball in the end of your stick, boys.
Is it a difficult thing to change? You just see a bit of pressure here from young Ogilvy and then a hand in the back, and that's all a little bit messy. But Kookaburras play such an open style, encouraged to back your skills, get front on, do things that have an element of risk, but it's about backing your skill level. To be able to change that back just to shift that momentum, is that something that's difficult to do?
As Okinen fires that ball through the circle, I think it's just a difficult thing to recognise sometimes. I think momentum swings, especially for the Australian team, is something that we're usually in control of. We've usually knocked 3 or 4 goals in maybe by this stage of the match, and we're starting to really put teams under the pump. It's something that we've worked on the last few years as Wetton makes a steal.
Quick hands, Wetton. Bit of body work there from Simpson's, clever, just enough to unsettle it. Oh, and that's a bit ugly, and now the Australians are in for another long haul with 10. That's not going to help their cause, Simon.
No, not at all. Unfortunate there for Eddie Okinen. You could see the last couple of minutes, it's getting a bit chippy out there, especially Okinen and Darren Veer running into each other, a few shoulders. There's a great pass there from Raganuth, picked up from Ramandeep.
Good skills, a little left to right, gets around the outside, clever, managed to find a target in there, quick hands. Just needed a target on the post there on their forward structure. One of the things for mine is the Indians are getting behind the Aussies. Some of it is coming from skill errors in the wrong places, and some of it, for me, is coming from their counter control. You spoke about getting numbers up on top of the play. Is that causing the Australian team issues because they are high and they're not managing that aggressive approach at the moment?
I think it's difficult. At the moment, we seem to be making a few steals. We saw that last example from Wetton, knocked the ball away, and it just fell to the Indian team. On most days, as Edwards comes in hard to make a tackle on Ramandeep again, well done from Wetton to back tackle and give the free hit away.
Good work by Edwards, though. Just probed and got his feet back off the contest. Good balance with that little contest there.
Dangerous ball from Rapinder Pal. Yeah, we speak about the press and the ability of the Australians to constantly put people under pressure, strangle defences. I think tonight there's been some opportunities to steal the ball. Maybe the ball's fallen to an Aussie player and then we've just turned it over too quickly. Usually we try and hold on to the ball and create a chance after a chance, some sustained attacking pressure. Tonight, just turning it over as Devon flies into the attacking 25.
Poor skill, but it's going to rustle its way through. Australia's got numbers here, but easy out. Good poise by the Indians, managed to free themselves up and get that bomb, but Simpson cuts it off.
Good play from Simpson there. Recognised Devon had moved forward, slid back into a back full roll and picks off a pretty important intercept.
So it becomes a bit of a balance, doesn't it? The playing style and the want in terms of how to control the opposition is in some ways almost creating some of the shootout and the aspects where the Australians are struggling to handle.
I think India are a special example of a team that can attack at pace and with such skill. You've seen a couple of times already the ability to break fast as Wetton cracks another ball into the circle. One of the best, if not the best team in the world at running fast. It's people like SV Sunil, Ramandeep Singh, Akashdeep. They're so skillful and difficult to tackle. Any other team, a German team, a Dutch team, a Belgian team, maybe don't break with that speed, allow Australia to drop back and maybe clean a lot of these counter-attacks up.
As Ramandeep runs hard, as that help side striker trying to get in behind. Certainly willing to do the work at the moment, the Indians. There's a reward when they run hard and when they run forward in this last little period. Kookaburras just plays off and there's that overlap play looks for. And this is what we talked about, isn't it? Kookaburras is now not out of position, but that's the way he wants to play, wants to get forward, very aggressive.
And it's interesting, you watch the Indians, they get a goal, maybe a goal up, and they get a sniff. There's some pretty handy skills from Manpreet, unlucky there. They almost grow a third leg. It's the ability to stay in the contest. They think they're a chance, which is something that is not always possible against an Australian side, Jason.
No, for the AFL lovers watching the telecast, you think of Port Adelaide, things they've talked about with their momentum swings. When they're doing well, they don't stop and hold the game, they go harder. And there's a bit of an Indian mentality about that.
Really good skills there from Goads. Didn't see anything on and really turned around, fed it back to Simpson, which is really good play from the Australians there.
Just trying to go a little bit too long at the moment, India. Sort of going away from earning that right to be able to then get the ball in behind. Just need to settle and get back to what's been working for them. Manpreet, clever. Gets knocked around a bit, the boy, doesn't he? See a lot of that, Simon, the reverse stick passes. We know it's a left foot, right foot thing. You've got to be able to pass and play on both sides of your body, but seems to be a lot of wasted balls trying to find penetration in the front third through reverse stick tomahawks.
Oh, it's a difficult skill. I think it's something that, especially in the last 5 to 10 years, has become in vogue. A lot of teams around the world and a lot of players are great exponents of the reverse stick. Sardar Singh not playing tonight, but probably one of the best in the world at hitting off both sides of his body. And it's a dangerous skill. You often find defenders stand up and they're a bit worried about a reverse stick tomahawk rather than a forehand hit.
Just gets cleared there as that ball gets through the lines. So it's a balancing act or a skill execution thing. Obviously wouldn't be happy with the percentage rate that we're getting at the moment in the series so far with that type of play.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. Skill execution, definitely. It's something that the boys are constantly practicing. As Gajinder, great tackle from Matt Goads there.
Tried to sell the candy. Here we go, Wetton. He's got to get behind here. So closed down by Raghunath, who got the exact play he was after. He wanted Jacob Wetton to run at him, and he did. Just need to get him behind there. So didn't play that scenario very well, Australia. Had a lot of space and pretty much gave the Indians the only one that they were going to handle.
And it's interesting to see India, normally such a dangerous counter-attacking side, they've almost developed the ability, if there's nothing on, to stop, to turn, to fire it back out and hold the ball. It's not a strong point or something that India's been known for over the last 5 or 6 years, but these 3 games so far in Australia, they've developed that ability to realise and recognise when they can't go forward. As we see Akashdeep do it again. Great tackle from Toulouse.
Careless, that ball back inside. Godas has lost it, but he's managed to get back in the contest. Got that great skills. Bit of basketball there out of defence, Simon.
He's hot dogging Kosajit.
That is brilliant. Raghunath, and now we go forward. Darren Veer. Man of the moment. It's got just a little quick egg to Jamie Dwyer, feed pass in the circle in the air. Just needed to go to that ball there a little bit. Tom Craig. Sort of watched that unfold. Could have got himself in a bit of trouble there. Beale looks inside, nothing on, dishes out wide. Some numbers searching. Wetton cuts on the inside, but he's lost a handle on that. And that's a corner. Big moment. Good play by the Australians. Probably got a freebie in the end, but moved the ball well, managed to get in behind the Indians. Sort of penetration through good passing patterns that maybe they haven't been able to get in play as much as they would have liked.
And first corner of the game came off the back of pretty good play from India down in this end. SV Sunil and Nick and Tamaya linking up quite well. A dangerous ball that Sorello managed to find, fired out to Daniel Beale, and I liked what Daniel Beale did. He looked up, saw Jacob Wetton by himself, stopped, fed it out to Tristan White instead of just cracking it long. Really good measured play.
Just getting set for this corner. There's a little bit of movement down there, Frizz. Can you tell us if there's anything happening down from the bench from your side?
Yeah, look, whenever Australia come off, they're walking up and down the sidelines there and just keeping their body moving, just keeping nice and warm, whereas India is just sitting straight down and just having a rest. So it's really interesting to see the two different ways that the teams are handling their rest time.
Interesting, different approaches there. Might be able to get Simon to elaborate on that on a second. We're sitting here having a lot of corners tonight. Australians setting up with a double battery. Got 8 up on the battery, so potentially a problem here on the counter-attack like we saw on Wednesday night. And on cue, Aaron Zalewski just dumps out. Sorella gets run down. Quick hands there. It's like a game of basketball at the moment, isn't it?
Basketball, ping pong, the ball's just ricocheting from end to
Sorella
end.
looks inside. He's found a target. Godas turning, twisting. Customary reverse stick shot underneath his feet.
Great effort from Godas there, the ability to receive that ball with strength, manipulate. He's got a pretty big bucket. He just stuck that in the face of the Indian defender. A pretty good tomahawk shot, inches wide.
I wouldn't have thought there'd be many better in terms of the ability to create space and get tomahawk shots away from anywhere almost. Gets a lot of shots from out under his feet, which seem for the average player to be something not possible.
There's probably one guy better. He's not playing anymore. His name was Des Abbott. He was quite good as well, Jason.
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned Des Abbott. We talked to Graham Reid about him the other day, and fit and healthy. Asked him the question, are you giving Des Abbott a phone call? And I think the answer was, we'll see what happens.
If you're out there, Des.
If you're out there, Des. Wander into the stadium.
Might actually be on his honeymoon. Recently married, Desmond.
Yeah, last weekend. Fantastic day for their families. So back to the hockey. Nice, clever little overhead and just a little bit too far. So winding down for the last few seconds into three-quarter time. Three-quarter time, third test, Australia v India. We are live at the Perth Hockey Stadium. Score is 1-0, India v Australia. Got these 90-second coaching efforts, and hopefully we can get Frizz to jump back in these huddles. She has been fantastic at infiltrating.
Yeah, look, guys, I'm going to stop you there because I have done a fantastic job.
You have.
But Australia have requested that we stay out of the audio, just for the fact of that they want to try and keep their plays to themselves, not give India a chance at all to get into it.
Well, I think that's fair enough. I think the openness of the last few games has been outstanding from both teams. We've got some amazing insights, and certainly you've been a huge part of that, Frizz. So thank you. We'll try and keep you out of trouble. I'll just check back to Simon now. Three-quarter time. We've got a minute break here. It's not really a break, but a chance for the coach to get a quick message in. What do you think the teams are saying, and what are they going to try and mount in this last quarter?
I think if I was Terry Walsh, coach of India, I'd be saying more of the same. I think they've been quite dangerous on the counter-attack, but they've managed to control the ball fairly well moving into their front half as well. There haven't been too many chances for the Australian side. There haven't been too many open shots, maybe a couple towards the end of that quarter from the likes of Godes. He's becoming dangerous. So from Terry Walsh, more composure, quality of basic skills, keep attacking on the counter. For Australia, they just need to move the ball quicker, get the ball to the outside, find these halfbacks moving up the line, but get the likes of Ockenden, Zalewski, Simpson, these dangerous midfielders more involved. Get it to them. Go direct. Find these guys up the front, especially someone like Jake Wetton, who's probably been a little quieter tonight. He really lit the field up those first 2 games. We need the ball on his stick a bit more.
There's some strategies, some actions, behaviours you're after from your Australian Kookaburra teammates there. In a wrap, you need them to take more risks, don't you? They've got to take the game on, but at the same time lift the level of all their play to make that actually be worthwhile.
Just quickly, guys, I will just step in. I'll just give you a brief rundown of what the coach said. He just wanted them to really concentrate on their skills and just take possession out on the field there to just, take control of the game.
Thanks, Frizz. Seems like Simon's cued in with the coaches. 14 minutes 40 left as Australia stare down the barrel of 2 defeats in a row at home against the 9th ranked Indians. So really big challenge for this young Australian team. There's nowhere to hide. There's not going to be any excuses talked about with a young team on the pitch. They've got a job to do with 14 minutes to go, Simon.
I'd be interested to see what happens. We've had 2 yellow cards from the Australian team in this game, Jason, whether the legs are a bit weary. The likes of Zalewski and Ockenden, who have sat off, should be fresh and ready to go, but how are the other guys feeling? Do they still have that energy, that zip in the legs?
Trap from Godas, just cuts it off to get the security there. Great skill, but on the reverse, but just missed the target by about 1 metre. But you talked about him getting involved. There looks an intent from him to impose himself a little bit on this game and really try and change things up for the Australians.
And you can already see a really aggressive press from the Australian side, coming out with a lot of intent. Daniel Beer working that mark. Dylan Wotherspoon on the far side, tucking across and making it difficult.
Oh, just got to pick back off. Pick Gerbarge's pocket, and Gerbarge picked his pocket back. And here he goes again. Ockenden trying to get involved. It's interesting though, the Australians still employing that really deep free defender. On cue as Devon just tries to push up into the midfield a little bit, but they're obviously worried about the aerials.
I think you're spot on. The ability of Raghunath, Rapinda and Gajinda to throw these 60, 70-yard aerials, probably some of the longest in the world. We need that free defender to be a bit deeper maybe, but it doesn't provide as much support if they do come through the midfield, the likes of Gerbarge tucking inside.
No, so that is opening up space for the Indians to come back through the midfield in their back half. So as we spoke about the other night, a bit of a Rob Peter to pay Paul scenario, but obviously the coaching group have decided that's the bigger threat at the moment. Ockenden getting involved, just probes inside. Witherspoon's going to have to be strong here. Braces, tries to cut back inside. It's held up though. Devon doesn't find anyone on the end of that.
Right idea from Devon there. I think we just maybe lacked a bit of width. We spoke about that at the start of the broadcast, Jason. We saw Dylan Wotherspoon trying to get out there. Just probably left his lead a little bit late, but good idea.
Nice little one touch down the line by Gerbarge, but nothing comes of it. Ramandeep Singh knocks the ball out. Kothat just knocks that back. Some good pressure up front by Beale. He's working really hard to split the fullbacks, try and push them into one side and create a bit of an opportunity for the other guys pushing up. Brown busy, but they get away. Customary Indian hockey. Crash ball from the right baseline. The Indian forward's getting wet, so there's some desperation about that situation.
The dangerous Gerbarge again, cracking that ball across. Jeremy Hayward right there with his man.
Danish Mutbar just got on his face there and just got in front of Edwards as well.
Speaking of faces, Jason, I might take this moment to mention Movember.
Nice.
The Kookaburras are on board. Jump on the Kookaburras Facebook page. You can see some of the worst and some of the best. Kyle Brown, who's about to get the ball, has probably one of the best handlebar moustaches you'll ever see. Jump on there and support men's health, prostate cancer, depression, testicular cancer, trying to raise as much money as possible.
Fantastic cause, Simon. Where does your mo sit, in the top end or the bottom end? You know that I can see you, so don't lie on the broadcast.
Very, very average.
Very ordinary. Well, it's a great cause and one fantastic for people to support. Sorello's just looking in, customary little pause to find that target he's after. Just need to go around that free defender, don't they? Get back, get the little redirects or get the extra pass. The Australians got to work a little bit harder to try and get around the free defender and get him behind the Indian defence.
You're exactly right, Jason. A good ball from Tristan White there to slide it in with pace. We just need someone in front of that free defender. Either that or a redirection, just someone to put a bit of doubt into Rupinder Pal Singh's mind. At the moment, he can just stand and patrol the edge of the circle with no pressure. His skills have to be good, and I've been really impressed by the Indians' basics tonight. They haven't missed a trap.
Interesting little approach to that overhead with Darren Veer. Tried to, not sure how we could describe that. Trap it behind his body with his hands twisted.
Unorthodox.
Unorthodox, nice.
Clever ball from Edwards there, finds Hayward moving forward again into the attacking 25.
Hayward's trying to get forward a little bit more. We've seen him do that right throughout the game, but there will be intent, you will suspect, as this clock winds down for him to try and get ahead of the play and overload this Indian defence. Some quick ball movement by the Australians. Still a little bit pedestrian, isn't it? They can probably fire this around a little bit quicker, but the intent's right. Got some troubles here. If we can...
Ramandeep Singh carrying it forward at pace.
Well, I can see your face, Simon. Talk us through that one.
A few theatrics there, I think, from Nick and Tamaya. I'm not sure how much contact there was. Thought it was pretty good defence. Maybe a slight bump. I don't think it warranted a corner by any means.
20 seconds.
Brings me back to the conversation we had earlier about the Australians' intent to get numbers high and try and control those counters early with the aggressive, oppressive pressing approach behind the play. So the defence and offence, but aggressive, smother it, get it back straight away. It still seems to me that the height of that and the lack of ability to get a handle on that quickly is hurting them. There's too much space behind.
Come on, hop in,
Murray Grimes getting all authoritarian on us, and India, a big opportunity here. Goes to the first battery. He's fallen though, and probably lucky to get a repeat there. They didn't complete that as well as they would have liked.
Well run from Jeremy Hayward there. You see the Australians really pride themselves on their ability to run that really hard, tight line and smother that drag flick. A double threat here. Gajinder on the left, Rupinder on the right. Wouldn't be surprised if they tried to mix it up on this one.
The defensive.
Okay.
First battery. Tiny. Oh, that was... I was just about to say, as that ball came out, the efforts of both defensive corner batteries has been outstanding in this series. Some really good first running.
Go guys, straight in again.
We've seen just some really organised units.
Some really brave running as well, I think.
All right, straight in, let's
These
go.
boys can flick the ball up to 100, 110 kilometres per hour. See Jeremy Hayward dragging his legs through, trying to copy these on the way through.
Kyle, hop in. Okay.
Murray Grimes there, ordering traffic, gone to a single battery, missed trap. So that's a let-off for the Australians, but some more skill from the Indian team, and probably just a little bit outside of their skill set, or their skill level, but that's a big call, I think. Good strength. But they can't go one out, the Australians. That's a bit of an experience thing. I think we need players to break lines to get back into games, but they need to be able to get people away from those skills.
Nice play from Ogilvie to cut in, beat one. I think that's where maybe nothing on, turn around and fire it back out to the likes of Simpson or Sorello to reset.
Touched by Godas. Was that Ockenden down there? Yeah, need the ability to be able to get your head up out of that first elimination or that run to space, get balance and be able to make that next play. Whether they dump it out and then get the ball to the other side or hold it up, or whether they make some penetrating plays. Going one out is not going to be the solution to their problems at the moment.
And there's still time. I think that's the thing. It's a pretty inexperienced Australian lineup. Maybe not a lot of the leaders out there, the likes of Mark Knowles, Jamie Dwyer, Matthew Swan, Fergus Kavanagh are all in the stands as Tom Craig and Eddie Ockenden link up
from
here.
India. Back with Ockenden. Searches across the middle, and he's found one. One-handed, and on the post. Wetton just couldn't get a stick on that. Some great skills by Simpson coming through there.
And a great interchange of passes between Eddie Ockenden and Tom Craig. You can see that quick 1-2 just opens up a different angle. It allows Eddie to receive the ball forward another 5 yards. Really great penetrating pass, and Simpson's so close. He's had a couple of chances
no lean back into
in
him,
these 3 games that have just whizzed past the far post.
Bit of argy-bargy. Surprisingly, Devon's involved. It's interesting, isn't it? That little 1-2 pass seems like nothing. The ball doesn't go anywhere. But just the movement, the Indian defence shifts a bit. They watch the next one, or maybe one-person ball watches. That's part of Australia's ball movement that just hasn't been in place tonight at all.
Well, definitely not enough. I think that was one of the first moments that we've used that 1-2 pass successfully. Just a quick 3-touch hockey, just the ability, as you said, to shift the defence, open up different passing channels, created a really great opportunity for Simpson.
I think just the ball, or the speed of movement with the ball when they're passing just hasn't been maybe at a level that they'll be happy with, the Australians. They're coming though. We've got 5 minutes 30 left on the clock. 4th quarter here at the Perth Hockey Stadium. 3rd test, Australia v India, and India are 1-0 up as Devon mistraps the ball over the sideline. Darren Veer making his way back on the field, and one of the stars of the moment, SV Sunil, is looking to come back on the field for a last.
Great receive and good strength from Dylan Wotherspoon there to win a free hit.
That's lazy. Don't like that. Careless by Simpson. He's going to get it back though and get a second chance, and Indian crowd's happy with that.
Very boisterous Indian crowd out here tonight, Jason. You can see all along the front row of the close stand, every time India touch the ball or break away, they're up out of their seats and cheering, which is great to see.
Fantastic atmosphere here at the Perth Hockey Stadium. Garbage. Argy-bargy there with Edwards. That's Darren Veer down there. 2 balls in the pitch, so they can just have a bit of a breath.
Okay. Over here. There's the first one over here. First three up.
Some frustrations for Simpson here as the clock starts ticking down.
So there's been some bit of a calming influence from their senior players.
Don't push. Over here. Yeah.
Tables turned on that one. Indian players, Indian forwards pushing. Might have been a bit harsh on Tim Devon earlier. Maybe he wasn't the instigator.
We've seen Simpson go off with a green card here. Looks like the lip may have just got him in a bit of trouble. Not sure what was said.
It's not a Movember thing, is it? We're talking lip, as in talking back to Murray Grimes. Indians on the break in. Great skill. Sorello, just a bit of a crasher, just apologising. The experienced Murray Grimes making his way over.
It was an accident, okay?
Yes.
It's inside the side.
Just calming things down out there.
Wait. Just wait for the whistle.
Fantastic job by Murray Grimes there, just
let go of his arm.
to settle that down.
No, don't grab his arm.
The tone, just to get this back on track. I don't want things to be too heated in this last few minutes as this contest unwinds to the end.
A lot of pushing and shoving going on off the ball in the defensive circle of Australia here. I don't mind it. Dawson, Devon being aggressive, being unsociable. Murray Grimes not having a bar of it.
No, he doesn't like it. I'm with you. I think it's a man's game. And Brown on the intercept. Ogilvy just mishandles it, but he gets it away. Australians surging forward on the outside. Crowd is up. It's a big noise here in the stadium. And Witherspoon just gets breaking down. Just breathe for a second. And it's 16. Wetton tries to blindside. Is away again. Darren Veer looks up. Great hands. Just taps that forward. And Sunil, if anyone can get that, he'll get it. But even too quick for the great man. The tempo's really up.
Saw a clever one-touch from Lacra there, the Indian fullback.
Great hands.
Wetton coming in from the wrong side and quickly just shoved it out to the right half to avoid the press. Pretty smart play from Lacra.
talked about the Indian team's basic skills being at a really good level tonight. For mine, not just their basic skills, some of their advanced skills have been prominent right throughout the game. There's been a real masterclass of high-end skill in this game from the Indian team.
One of the best performances I think I've seen from an Indian team for a long time, Jason. Their ability to, as you say, control the ball with those basic skills. A simple skill like receiving upright on the reverse, which has been a bit off maybe for the Australians tonight. The Indians seem to have simple skills like that covered and doing it with a real class. You see again as they run through the midfield.
Just the composure, just to be able to have that vision or just hold it, make sure of the next skill. Really backed themselves and been really confident tonight with all aspects of the game. Let's get a bit of post up there. Deemed to be a bit too aggressive there with the body.
Bring it in.
1
Just on
minute
the 5.
19. Ball's been entrenched
Big 5. Wait.
in this
Wait.
area
Big
of the
5.
field, except for the odd break
Okay.
from the Australians in the last few minutes.
Wetton sitting high now, hoping for a quick ball out of defence, try to get this last ditch goal.
Just the time for the keeper to come off, Simon.
Great idea, Jason. I'm not sure if it's gone through the coach's heads at this stage. Wouldn't be a bad idea as Tom Craig starts striding out. Oh, great tackle.
5 minutes ago, I reckon.
Back there.
Great ball, post up, here we go. Wetton's had his picket, his pocket picked, and the Indians are away and safe. Crowd is on their feet. It's extremely loud down here at the Perth Hockey Stadium. The Aussies come back again. Wetton knocks it out. Crash ball. Little jink, back in the circle. Bodies flailing everywhere.
Unlucky for guards, a real intent to win that free hit, run it out to the 5 and try and get into the circle. Unfortunately, got the ball in the air, just couldn't find the foot.
The Indian crowd is going nuts, right? Got the countdown. Huge result for Indian hockey. We're going to go straight down to Frizz because we can't actually hear anything up here. Frizz, can you hear us down there on the sideline?
Only just, guys. I can only just hear you, actually. They're screaming.
What's the feeling down there on the bench, Frizz? How are the Aussies coming off the bench? Deflated?
Absolutely deflated. There's no smiles at all. They look really frustrated, actually. So I'll try and head out there in just a moment to try and talk to a few of the guys, if they'll let me. They don't seem happy at all, whereas India are absolutely ecstatic. And as you can hear, so are their supporters.
Simon, you mentioned later on in the call one of the best performances you've seen from an Indian team. They were very good the other night, but this is a whole new level of play for them, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I think I touched on it a couple of times, but I'm really impressed by their ability to hold possession and not just run, flat chat and counter-attack every time. You saw, especially in the latter half of that game, when they had control, they had the lead, they controlled the ball, they turned, they threw it back out. No Sardar Singh tonight, which is quite interesting considering they played so well. Manpreet really held the middle of the field well, but it was a really great team performance. Maybe Rupinder Pal Singh coming back into the side, playing his 100th game, maybe that was some extra motivation. SV Sunil, outstanding again for me tonight. Gurbaj, Darren Veer Singh down the right-hand side. A number of really good contributors from India.
Just hold a second. So he's going down to Frizz down there on.
Yeah, I've just got the Australian coach with me. Now, it was a much more aggressive game tonight. How do you think your guys handled that?
Yeah, look, we did okay in parts. We asked them to move the ball around a lot more than we had in the second game, and I thought we did that okay in parts, but there were times where we didn't, and we paid the price. Yeah.
You've got a few younger players on your side. How do you feel that they're gelling with the team now?
Yeah, look, it's a difficult time for young players. You know, they come in, and India's a very good team, and they move with pace. They move the ball very quickly. And our guys are coming to terms with it at the moment. Yeah, so it's a good experience for them though.
India as an opposition, they are quite aggressive. Do you find that hard to deal with and hard to play against?
No, we are used to that. I think you know we've played a lot against them and play a lot against aggressive teams in Europe. So
And just a moment to talk about the crowd. Thousands have turned out tonight.
Yeah, no, very, very good. Disappointing for us that we couldn't put the ball in the net. We had some good opportunities tonight, but unfortunately, and it's very difficult to win when you only have 10 players on the pitch. So there's a couple of those little things that we need to sort out, and we'll be back better and stronger tomorrow.
What can we expect to see tomorrow night then?
Oh, it'll be another fast game like this. It's always the way against India. And we'll just try and be on the other end of the scoreboard a bit better.
Well, good luck for tomorrow night.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Frizz. Fantastic. Couldn't get a player, just went straight to the top. Great insight there. Obviously a little bit deflated, Coach Graham Reid, but professional as ever. We're going to go to the highlights in a second, Simon, but we'll just continue on until we get to that point. Oh, here we go. So we're just looking at some replays here. Types of opportunities as the game went through. Where do you see the balance between the opportunities that both teams created for each other?
I think tonight Australia probably just didn't get enough out of their press. They were really aggressive, especially at the start of that fourth quarter. Daniel Beale leading the way up front, trying to put a lot of pressure on the Indian defenders, and the ball probably just didn't fall to us, I think. There was a number of occasions where someone knocked it away, we maybe got control and then turned it over again quickly. Not a lot of goal shots, which is probably disappointing, but for both sides. The Indians counter-attacked well, as always. SV Sunil a real threat, and the aerial ability of the Indians out of the back caused Australia some troubles as well.
We're just watching some of the highlights here. Australians not always hitting targets. We talked earlier at the start of the call about having good depth and width and making sure they had the right structure in terms of having targets going into the circle. That part of their game seemed to be a bit inconsistent as well.
And it looked as if the connections maybe just weren't there tonight. I know another new team, a few different guys coming in, a few guys sitting out, but that last play, as we see, corner breakdown here, bit unlucky for Godes there. Yeah, it just seemed to not be a lot of connection out there. I think there was a few balls that just went behind or just in front, maybe were thrown at the wrong time, the passer or the receiver wasn't ready. Sums up tonight's game for the Australians.
And that's part and parcel of the group they're putting through, but as everyone keeps talking about, there are no excuses. We saw that last corner in that short little highlight clip there. Australia really haven't had the output they would like with their attacking corners. Obviously bringing different people through, becoming more flexible and versatile with more depth, their flickers, some of those sort of things. That's an area they need to improve on for Game 4.
Yeah, and it's about providing opportunities as well. I think Australia maybe only one corner tonight or maybe two. One was run down, I know that. And yeah, it's about creating opportunities for other guys, seeing what everyone's capable of. We know Chris Sorrello's a world-class drag flicker. He's flicked, I think, a hat-trick in the 3 majors this year, if not more goals. He's had a fantastic year, but we need to find the next Chris Sorrello. That's the opportunity given for Matthew Dawson. Glenn Simpson's flicking a bit more now, and there's more guys coming through. Same with our defensive corners. Jeremy Hayward ran exceptionally well tonight. There'll be opportunities again tomorrow for different guys.
Little bit of talk there about the Australian team's forward efficiency. The other thing we spoke about before the start of the game, as the crowd goes wild with a one-on-one save, so the Indian crowd has still got a bit of voice left. We talked about counter control, so there's some more aggressive approaches that the Kookaburras are putting in at the moment. Certainly my thoughts are that some of that's getting them into trouble, too much space on the outside, too much space in behind. What are your thoughts about how that played out tonight?
I think it's tailor-made for a team like India. We spoke through the broadcast about the likes of India, your Malaysia, your Pakistan, as Jake Wetton knocks the ball in on the Toma. Their ability to break and to break fast, and it's always been probably a one-dimensional game plan. Those teams have fallen away and attacked quickly. I think that the good part for those sides is, especially India, they've developed this ability to go forward with a bit more composure. Yeah, Australia definitely have things to work on. There was a lot of talk in the last 2 days about protecting these dangerous areas. Probably be disappointed to give up another counter-attack goal tonight, and that'll be reviewed tomorrow, I'm sure, in length.
We talked about the higher level of basic skill for the Indian team tonight, and also some of the advanced level, the consistency of some of the poise and just the brilliance on the ball with some of their skill level. It's just amazing, to be honest, with the consistency of it. What else are you seeing that's evolving from this Indian team in terms of what Terry Walsh is doing with them and how they're starting to play?
I think it was only a matter of time once Terry Walsh came on board. He's a top-class coach. that they were going to start seeing improved results. I think Sorello calmly slots that away for Australia. Terry's got a lot of experience coaching really good teams. He's coached Australia, he's coached Holland, and now he's starting to put his imprint on this Indian side. Their basic skills are super impressive. Their ability to trap and pass and just Indian dribble, as the name states, is the best in the world. I think if you ever want to teach someone how to dribble or how to play hockey, you show them some videos of Indians carrying the ball. But there's not an over-reliance on that anymore. They used to dribble for the sake of dribbling. Now they're shifting the ball. Now they're passing. They're playing more as a team. They're defending a bit better, and that's always been one of their main issues. So they're slowly coming together, which is dangerous.
They're looking dangerous, aren't they?
Yeah, and whether that's maybe the Hockey India League starting to have an effect on their ability, it was only a matter of time before these Indian guys pick up certain skills and traits from different players all over the world playing in the Hockey India League. We're up to the 3rd season next year. A lot of these players play with these Aussie boys. They know a lot about us, a lot about as Goads gets smothered there for the first miss for Australia. So it'll be interesting. 2 more years to the Olympics and they're a superpower, India. They're waiting to explode.
Exciting times for Indian supporters, potentially concerning for the rest of the world, but we know hockey, to be healthy, needs an Indian team and system that is up and running. So fantastic news for world hockey. Just as a wrap-up, Simon, Manpreet tonight, the difference having him in there seemed like a significant factor and maybe something they'll go to more going forward?
Yeah, I think it's maybe just getting the over-reliance off Sada. We saw as Charter makes another nonchalant save there. He's one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Yeah, we've seen Sada over the last couple of years be a real linchpin for India. They seem to direct a lot of their play. If something good happens, it comes through him. Really exciting to see tonight him step out. We can see him in the tracksuit out on the field with Mandeep as well. And Manpreet comes in, plays really well, controls the game, but doesn't do too much, just does what's required.
Talked a lot about SV Sunil, and so we'll move forward to other players. He's obviously been outstanding though. Srijes Harjit had a good game the other day as well, so the keepers are in good nick. Barinder Lakra tonight seemed to be an important inclusion as well. And the other one for me to talk about is Gurbaj Singh. Seems to be a guy that when he's up and running and getting involved, he's important to their play as well.
Yeah, and we spoke about the influence that Gurbaj has on that right-hand side. He plays solely as a right half. He's a very attacking right half, and he's got that dangerous ability to cut inside and run at the heart of defences. I'd be interested, Jace, to get your thoughts as a forward group. What do you do? Do you tackle? Do you poke? Do you get in his face early? Do you just let him run down the sideline? How do you counteract that dangerous ability to pull inside and attack the heart of the defence?
Yeah, I think early on when he was not causing as much damage, he was just trying to get forward the 1-2s and just overlap down the side to get this loud, intense noise from the Indian crowd. And so he was a little bit one-dimensional, so that becomes a bit easier to handle. When he starts to be more versatile, cutting inside, doing different things on the ball, moving forward, holding back, that becomes a bit of a different challenge. But certainly, as you mentioned, the whole point of just staying in the contest with him, not overcommitting. If you're marking him and he passes, make sure you don't switch off and then cut off his next pass. You really just got to stay switched on and stay mobile around what he's doing.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kookaburras winning the penalty shootout, 3-1. That concludes tonight. Can you please put your hands together for the Indian team and the Kookaburras?
Just getting the final wrap-up from Shane Tonkin down there as the Indian team huddle and the Australian team huddle. Simon Orchard, thanks for joining us. Fantastic night for Indian hockey. Everybody will be back 7 o'clock tomorrow night, same time, same bat channel.
Thanks for having me, boys.